So last year started, well, actually it started pretty good. Good time with good friends. But I was in a state of limbo for January because I'd had a contract extension from my camper contract from December into January. But after January, I was going to be jobless. Now I was getting told by management, don't worry, you have a place with us. You have a place with us. One manager even said, we failed as a company if we let someone like you go. But then the last day of January, I was working, and I decided to ask HR what's up, and they said, oh, we've decided not to hire you. Threw me into a tailspin that night, because I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And management, you know, they had my back. I will always be grateful to them because they threw down, like, all of them. They came in, even the ones who are not at work came in and like hashed it out with HR, basically put their foot down and said, you're hiring him. So that was really awesome. So, but then I just moved from one state of limbo to another state of limbo in that HR was like, we're trying to figure out how to pull this off. So long as your badge works, you have a job. So for about 2 weeks, I didn't know if today was going to be the day that my badge stopped working when I went into work. And eventually, you know, they called me in, walked me through orientation, and I was hired on full time. But for that time frame, it was like, So I go through January like that. And by the end of February, I finally have a job. I'm feeling good. And then my first bill comes due from Buckeye because I forgot all about that. Amazon wasn't covering the bill after having them cover it for 11 months. So that was painful. Actually, it was 10 months. So I cover that and realize I can't stay there. It's too expensive. And so I look around, and eventually I'm talking to my buddy Deuce.
Yeah, no paper necessary.
Except no substitute.
Deuce, I completely forgot we nearly started the entire state of fucking Kansas on fire.
Holy crap.
I took off.
Yeah, it burned a little quicker.
I'm a wizard at understating things. And he offers to let me stay out on his property, which was great. So, the end of March, I move out there.
You know what, dude? If you're in that big a fucking hurry, by all means pass. Fuck you too, fucking Oklahoma drivers.
As I'm going through the videos to find stuff to splice in, I realized I completely forgot about the fact that I hit that gas station.
Oh, shit.
That was a couple months of fallout trying to deal with the insurance and all that other stuff, trying to get that all paid for and taken care of. Completely forgot about it. And, you know, it was a transition there. Find out I can only run on 110 power, which is, I can't run my AC on that, not effectively without screwing something up in the electronics. So that became an issue. So I moved around to the front of the house from the side of the barn where I was at to try to get under the tree shade and take advantage of that and, you know, I could run the AC on low, but once summer really got going, that just wasn't going to work. So I realized I needed to move into Deuce's house into the basement where it was still cool, but nobody had lived down there in a while. So it was all kind of stuff down there from I mean, this is family's property, so there was a lot of stuff down there that wasn't his. So I clean out one room that's set up in the back end of the house, and then I move my basic stuff down there. And I'm like, well, I'm not in the RV right now, at least for summer, so I should get it worked on. So I take it to Hester, and he works on it for me, gets the engine purring, which sounded great. But the entire time I'm in the basement, I'm dealing with moisture issues because it's a basement, you know, it's when it happens. And because it'd been unoccupied for so long, there's all kinds of spiders and stuff down there.
Holy shit, you can see the reflection of that fucker's eyes. That right there is why I have the fucking tent.
which I'm pretty sure I scared all of them away, because I was down there for a good couple of months. And then in that time frame, I get hired on for this position. And so I get my RV back, and I realize I got to figure out a way to tow the car because I don't want to have to get a tow dolly. I want to save some cash, and this is going to be the future for me. So I need to be able to tow my car without having to rent a tow dolly all the time. So I get a tow bar set up, pull apart my car, get it all on there, then find out I have the wrong attachments. And basically it comes down to the last day, and I finally get it worked out to where I can tow the car. And then the next morning, I go to start the RV, and I have problems starting the RV because the battery wire is bad. So it's smoking and just a bad omen. So I get going. Hester swaps the battery wire out for me. On the way there, I stop by his place, and then I hit the road, and everything's going swimmingly. Gonna interrupt myself here. It was going swimmingly the entire first day after all the problems that morning. From Waukene, or from Cherryvale to Waukene, Kansas, everything was fine. From Waukene to Lyman, that's when all the problems started happening. Like, by the time I got to Lyman, I found out that something had happened, and the AC wasn't working. I thought Keezy had somehow gotten out in Lyman. The car, or the RV was overheating. It was just like there was one thing after another, and it was just kind of coalescing into this bad event. So I finally was like, I was just so pissed off. Took a shower and I went to fucking bed. Slept the afternoon off, and then I was going to drive at night because it'd be cooler and maybe keep the RV cool. But I was pushing the RV a little hard. I was doing 60, 65 miles an hour. By the middle of the day, it started to get really sluggish, so I started slowing down, and it was overheating. So I started giving it more brakes and slowing down to like 45, 50 miles an hour. Little did I know the damage had already been done. So I make it to Lyman, Colorado. And that's kind of where everything falls apart for me. And I end up, if you were watching the channel, you know, I end up losing my RV, which was pretty painful. But I had a few days to get to here and report for my first day of work. And it was my word on the line. I said I would be there. So I had to make it happen somehow. I just had to make it happen. Because I didn't want to look like, somebody like... I have this thing about excuses and results. I could tell them, hey, I've broken down. Hey, I've done this. Hey, I've done that. But those are really, in the end, just excuses. So I had to make it happen somehow. And it ended up costing me a lot of money. I'm just finally getting to the front end of that. And it also put me in a situation where I had to move out of what I was living in. So where the fuck am I going to live when I get to Nevada now? So as I'm driving, I'm looking for where am I going to go? And through like a friend of a friend of a friend, I get put in touch with Nick. He wasn't advertising on the internet, nothing. And I completely fell into this apartment by accident. But it ended up being great. Nick's a great landlord, and it's not like he's a slumlord. Like, he's been fixing stuff on the outside of the building, all kinds of stuff, the entire time I've been here. So he's a great landlord, and I was very lucky. He let me get in without a credit check. It's like I showed up that day, and he just let me move in. Really awesome. And then I show up for work. So we're only halfway through the year now. It's just been crazy. And I'm sure I'm missing stuff in there. It's just been one of those years. And like, I get acclimated to the job, the work environment, and then they announce they're closing the place I just moved to. Lost my RV and everything to get to. And I was like, oh, man. So I'm guaranteed a job at the new facility, but they're not going to give me any money to move again, which sucks. And I don't want to drive. The new facility is an hour and 20 minutes from this apartment. So it'd be a 3-hour drive every day. I mean, I guess I'd get a lot of audiobooks done, but I already work like 11 to 12-hour days. So that would suck. Not really excited about that. So I'm looking at that. So I'm like, well, I'm going to move back into an RV. But then my management talks to me and they're like, well, technically your job, while it will exist at the new facility, is going to be phased out in a year anyway because of the new technology out there. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, but the good news is we think you're more qualified for other positions and we'd like to see you get pushed up in the system. So they put me into contact with some pretty nice people. And I've been in discussions with other types of positions within the company. I don't know where they're going to be at though. So I have the potential of, like last year I made a move where I had some help because it was local, it was Coffee Little Cherryville, and then one move where I had nobody's help and it was a long way. Well, I could be facing that again this year. I might have a short move from here into an RV up to northern Reno, and then potentially who knows where, because Amazon's everywhere. It could be Seattle, which is where the majority of their jobs are, if I got picked up for one of these, or it could be New Hampshire or Florida or Texas or Southern California. I have no idea where I would be going if I get picked up for one of these. So it could end up being great, but it's gonna. I just get the feeling it's gonna be another hard year. So, but I will be getting back into the RV lifestyle. So I will be documenting it. I just hope I don't get met with the same tragedy that happened on my first major move, third major move in that thing. I don't know how many. I drove that thing from Michigan to Belleville or Illinois, and then from Illinois to Kansas, and then from Kansas to Nevada. So I put some miles on it in the year plus that I had it. But I guess we'll see what happens next. 2015. So that was 2014. I remember at the end of the 2013 music video collage thing I did, I was looking at all these videos and I was like, man, what a crazy year. And I think I made the comment at the end of the video, it was a crazy year. I have no idea what's going to happen next. Well, obviously, I never could have foreseen half the things that happened. But you know what? I had these huge failures, learned valuable lessons, and I had some pretty awesome successes. And I imagine that's the same for everybody. So with that in mind, here's to your 2015. Here's to hoping that we have some pretty massive and epic failures, that we learn fundamental and awe-inspiring lessons, and that the successes we have from those failures are life-changing. Happy New Year.